All right, welcome back. This is Bullpen Mafia. Javi and I are trying out something new here, a little different. What are we calling this, Javi? This is the middle innings.
These are the middle innings, man. When baseball goes to die,
The filler, the broadcast filler. We're giving our attempt at what broadcasters have to deal with when it's 16-1 dead of summer ball game.
This is exactly when the conversations get good in the bullpen too. When first of all, guys have no idea what's happening in the game. Second of all, there's not much hope for your team. You're down by a lot of runs. It's really hot.
At this point, the third baseman is pitching.
Right.
Yeah, your utility guy is getting some time.
You got to move the season along, and you're tired of checking out who's in the stands. So you start talking about stuff that has no bearing on the game whatsoever.
I like that. Good. This is my first time really feeling part of the crew. I'm getting a true bullpen experience this evening. But before we get started, follow us on Instagram, YouTube. Our socials will be launching formally, hopefully shortly. I know we've been posting some content somewhat inconsistently, but the videos are there. Bullpen Mafia Pod. Follow, subscribe wherever you can. Javi, why don't you? What are we gonna go with first here? Are we gonna talk Marlins or are we gonna talk Ballparks?
Let's talk Marlins.
Okay.
I think we're at that point. We sort of had labeled this the diary of a sad Marlins fan. No Petey here today, so admittedly Toad and I can go on these rants. The Marlins have season's over, right?
Yes.
It is May 16th, and Toad and Javi are proclaiming the Marlins season over. Which, by the way, we held out a little bit longer than our GM did.
Touche. Yes. Yeah, we did. I went to opening day. It was exciting, regardless of the outcome. Went to extra innings, and I was like, you know what? Maybe the season, it's not going to be so bad. Packed house, man. Straight downhill from there. Swept by Pittsburgh. Swept by the Angels came into town next. I think swept by them. They didn't win a home game until 2.5 weeks into the season.
No junior whoppers.
I have some respect. It's a Whopper Junior.
Whopper Junior.
I had my WPJ after the first home win. But for me, the disappointment with the Marlins goes deeper than the product on the field. I'm as someone who worked in sports, I'm not trying to knock anyone down or disparage their career or mock anyone, because I know it can be difficult working for a team, marketing a team that flat out sucks. I mean, I worked for the Dolphins when they were 3-13 or 4-13, whatever it was. I forget if the season had 16 or 17 games at that point. But look, for me, regardless of the product on the field, I have a lot of question marks on how they market the team, the constant Latin pandering, the in-game experience at the stadium is below average, to put it nicely. I don't know. So my point is there's no reason to go to Lone Depot Park at all. Forget a crappy team. Yeah. Forget a crappy team. There's no impromptu, yo, fellas, put in the group chat. Let's go. Marlins Phillies tonight. Let's go.
Question for you, Toad.
Yeah.
In a 10-person group chat, you drop, let's go to Lone Depot Park. Number one, how many people say yes? Number two, how many people know what Lone Depot Park is?
That's a great question. Let's put it this way. The group chats I'm in, when it's raining and I suggest going to a Marlins game, they don't realize I have the roof.
I'd rather get wet.
Yeah. So, maybe 2 people say, I'll think about it. How much are tickets? And if you mention that the tickets are going to be cheaper than the beers, I think I could get 2 to 3.
I think the reason Toad and I are so scorned as Marlin fans, we've seen 2 world championships, right? So we've seen the potential of this team, this franchise. We've been to games, Caribbean Series. We've been to World Baseball Classic games where that park is slam packed.
We've seen the potential of what can happen at Marlins Park, aka Lone Depot Park. We know the atmosphere that can be built in there. But for me, I think they're doing a bad job of building off this Latin cultura thing. Like when I get an email from the Marlins, it's like, dale, bro, let's go to the ballpark. Like that's not working for me. Like we're both Cuban American kids, like hora loca on the field after a Friday losing 13-5 to Philly. I'm not, first of all, probably not going to the game. And second of all, I'm not staying.
Who stuck around, right?
Yeah.
What does hora loca look like? We should do a deep dive on hora loca, what that looks like after a Marlins loss. It's probably nothing loca about it.
If you're, it probably, they do something like this where they sit in a circle and they like, it's the airing of grievances. But look, I
mean, Toad, like, let's just talk about this season, right? Let's just take a step back. Our best player's gone. Luis Arias traded to the San Diego Padres.
Second best player's hurt. Third best player's hurt.
Well, let's just talk about Luis Arias for a second. The only guy who probably brought excitement to the park, right? I mean, great player, obviously not the home runs. Great personality,
likable,
super
marketable. You'd think
seemed to love being in Miami, right? You thought that
you would think it's obvious. It's a Venezuelan baseball player's dream. You're living in a city where you're going to be welcomed with open arms in the Latin American community. You're not, to Luis Arias' credit, he speaks English pretty well, but you're in a city where you're not going to have to, you can
rely on Spanish.
Yeah, you can rely on your Spanish to get by. Your family's going to feel welcome. And poof, gone just like that. Almost just like gone with the wind. Like he was a batting champ last year. Now he's gone as if it never happened.
So we lose Arias, best player gone. We can't even watch the team.
No.
I have Xfinity. We can't watch Xfinity. No. I lost the ability to watch the Marlins. So a team that we couldn't, people don't go to the park for. Now a big portion of South Florida that has Xfinity is not even able to watch the games on TV. So, it's like a tree falling in the woods too.
Yeah,
like who's actually absorbing
and I have
Marlins?
my notifications turned off for the Marlins too, so I don't even have that anymore. But to the TV thing, to give the Marlins some credit, that's not their fault. That's Diamond Sports, Bally Sports. They're a complete mess.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah, mess of an organization. I'm fairly certain they applied for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. They just can't pay Xfinity. So that Xfinity said, okay, that's too bad. We're not going to put your broadcast on TV. I know about a year ago, there was murmurs that Prime was going to just buy out all the RSNs and we could watch the Marlins on Amazon Prime or any team really. They're going to end blackouts in baseball, but that's still TBD. But brother, I think you're lucky that you don't have to subject yourself to that. Luckily, we still got the Panthers rolling. Inter Miami is in first place.
So let's go back to this is the diary of the Marlins.
Yeah, I'm distracted
about the Marlins. We can't watch the Marlins. Our best player's gone.
Yes.
Our general manager in April said that we weren't going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Okay.
The Sam Bankman-Fried of Major League Baseball.
So we have now team we can't watch. Our best player's gone.
The manager of the year is a lame duck manager. You forgot that.
Great point. Skip Schumacher was told they're not going to pick up his option on his next year to be the head man of the Marlins. We have 115 games left. This is not August. This is not the middle innings.
It's still that many.
This is the third inning of the Marlins game.
And they're down.
And they're down bad, dude.
If John Birdie was still on the team, he'd be pitching right now.
In the third inning.
It's insane. It's insane. It's sad because I know you and I are big. We're big baseball guys, but
let me ask you a question, Toad.
Sure, hit me.
First sports team that you fell in love with in South Florida?
Definitely the Marlins.
Definitely the Marlins.
It's
okay. Another question I'll pose to you.
Okay.
Ask your group chats, right, that are baseball fans, who their first team they fell in love with. How many people say the Florida Marlins?
I'd probably 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10
because they were the first team that won when we were growing up,
right? So like we talked about the other day.
Forget my friends. Your fiance has Mike Lowell jersey and has fond memories of 1997 and 2003.
100%. So the generation that is growing up right now in their toddler years, elementary years, they're going to be Panthers fans, right? The Panthers have had 2 insane runs.
And Tua and the Dolphins. I'll give him
no
that.
one will remember the Marlins. No one will even know they exist. So, again, a tree falls in the woods.
But look, here's the counter to that. A team doesn't have to make the playoffs to be memorable and to build fandom. You have to do two things for me, or maybe three. One, be competitive. Two, big personalities. And three, memorable players. Right. I think that's a little redundant, but my point being, when we were in high school, early college, the Dan Uggla Marlins, Hanley Ramirez, Jorge Cantu, Mike Jacobs, who's the center, Alfredo Amezaga, those teams, they're fun. A young Giancarlo, he was Mike Stanton then. Everyone watched those teams. Yeah. Those teams drew crowds. They were competitive until the playoff run. They were in the mix. And people were fans of those teams. People remember those years fondly. They didn't go all in. They didn't sign any big free agents. But at the end of
there was something about them.
There was something about them. They
were homegrown guys.
Homegrown. Outside of Hanley kicking the ball into left field that he walked and chased after it, that team played super hard. They had all-stars. They're still the only team in Major League Baseball to have all four infielders hit more than 30 home runs. It was Cantu, Hanley, Uggla, and Jacobs. Something that's still never been done before. People love that team. They never made the playoffs. Yeah. They didn't sniff the division, but people still loved the Florida Marlins back then. Why? Because Larry Beinfest seemed to care. Loria, whatever. That's another side thing. But he cared enough that they're playing young guys. They're energetic. They had great managers. Joe Girardi, one manager their year.
Freddie Gonzalez.
Those teams were easy to root for. Yeah. And the Marlins have
they've fallen on their face.
Yeah, they've completely lost that energy. I think we speak for the general public, general Marlins fans, that we're done. We're out. You have completely soiled baseball for us in Miami. I know it's dramatic, but I would be totally okay with them leaving. I don't understand. Look, man, I'm a baseball guy and I don't understand. You're in a baseball market.
I'll stop you there though. Don't say you want them to leave, Toad. You don't mean that.
I do.
Toad, you mean that? You mean that now on May 16th after the Marlins are 12 and 36,
when are they
whatever they
good? Am I supposed to wait?
Well, isn't that that's the whole point of being a fan, right? There's always a hope. There's a hope factor.
Don't sell me on that when there's 25 games under 500.
Right, but then you get the Oakland A's situation where a team just picks up and leaves. Granted, they've had a lot of issues with their ownership and trying to get a stadium, but teams leaving also sucks. I mean, the Marlins are bad, but Toad, we're mad. We're venting, but we don't want them to leave. Don't leave.
I quit. I've run out of patience.
Toad, I think you're one of the bigger Marlins fans that I know.
Yeah, I'll give you an anecdote. During COVID, the COVID shortened season, the night that they clinched against the Yankees, who was the pitcher? The closer they had just for that season, smaller guy.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm blanking on his name too, but you know the game I'm talking about. Right. Bottom of the ninth in Yankee Stadium. They get the
I can find out really quick.
It starts, he's Brandon something with a K. His last name starts with a K.
Knitzer?
Yeah, right? Brandon Knitzer?
Brandon Kinsler.
Okay. Brandon Kinsler.
Former Brewer. I should have known that.
Hey, that's tough. Tough. Now you remember him for the grid. Okay. So that night, I think, I don't know who was batting for the Yankees, but they ground into a game-ending double play. The Marlins Mattingly stormed the field at an empty Yankee Stadium. Absolute scenes. During COVID, it was a big thing for me. I was at home. My girlfriend at the time was sleeping in bed, and I shook her awake. I was like, they're in the playoffs. Oh my God. And she's like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, I need to go celebrate with somebody. Man, I drove to my parents' house at 10:30 at night and my dad, I didn't tell him I was going. It's as if he knew I was going to show up. And, we watched the highlights, the entire press conference. It was amazing. And I'll always remember that moment. It's, COVID sucked, but for me, that playoff run, sweeping Chicago, giving the Braves their all, that shit meant a lot to me. And the Marlins are becoming a sour point in my sports fandom that I have dude, even when they stunk for real, and I would still watch all the games. And now all of that like magic is gone. Like I used to watch games with my dad, like go to games randomly with my dad. I've admittedly gone to games by myself randomly when I want to get out of the house and watch pro ball. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. Call it a boycott, whatever it is, but we're done.
We're done.
Done.
Toad is done.
No,
I'm not done. Toad is done.
I got to pick a new team. I think I've said my Brewers, my Reds.
If you look at the camera, Toad's got a sick Brewers lid on right now.
Yeah, Bullpen Mafia, but
Bullpen Mafia Brewers collab.
Well, okay. Enough of the Marlins talk. I'm just gonna get angrier and angrier. I know you came up with a couple funny segments for us to go through here. You and I have been to a lot of ballparks between us.
Yeah.
Growing up, every summer, my dad would take my brother and I and force our mother to come with us to watch the Marlins. Every summer, one road series per year. So you traveling for baseball, you've experienced a bunch of ballparks too. We're going to quickly run through our top 5 ballparks, each of us. I guess we could call it a mini fantasy draft, for the football draft. Yeah, let's do a draft. For the football, we'll do snake style, starting with 5, right? Okay. Your segment, go first. Who's your number 5 top 5 ballpark?
Number 5, I am going with. I actually have to look up the name because I didn't know what it was. It's now Oracle Park. When I went, it was PNC or not PNC. AT&T Park, San Francisco Giants Stadium on the water.
For number 5.
That's number 5 for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Did you have
beautiful?
Did you have the garlic fries?
I had the garlic fries. We did the whole thing. We sat in. My dad got seats on the third base line. My brother was dying to go out to the splash zone area. That porch trying to catch a home run. Barry Bonds was on the team. McCovey Cove. Yeah. So a great experience. Tremendous ballpark. We went in the summer, and actually the summer is cooler than early spring. Yeah. So probably about 50, 55 degrees at night there. Fantastic place to watch a game. Just one of those places that you always remember because it's just so beautiful. Yeah. And I don't remember what happened in the game, but you just walk into that stadium. It's just an experience.
And the Marlins won a playoff series there.
They certainly did.
Okay. Number 5 for me might be too early to take it off the board. I'm surprised Oracle was that low. Fenway.
Wow. That was my number 1, Toad.
Really? Well, you can keep it your number 1. We, not to screw each other over. We can avoid the draft. We'll just do our top 5. Okay. 5 for me, Fenway. I remember we took the tour of the stadium, which was badass. Really fond memory. But when I went, it was before the renovations. So, we're still manual scoreboards across everything. I don't know. I think the older ballparks, they have that magic, that mystique, but it kind of wears off eventually. Like I couldn't imagine going, like if you had season tickets to have to go there, like super uncomfortable seats, smaller venue. I'm sure like
the amenities, the bathrooms,
not the same, not modern. Right. So tough. So that number 5 for me.
All right. My number 4, Dodger Stadium. I'm keeping in California.
Okay.
I love Dodger Stadium.
West Coast.
It's a tremendous park. The only reason it's number 4 for me to get out there is just a pain in the butt.
Yep. Chavez
a lot of traffic. It's an hour and a half there, and then you're stuck in traffic getting back out.
Miami guy naming 2, an East Coast guy naming 2, California.
I will say, Dodger Stadium was a tremendous. I've been there several times. I've been there, I think, 3 or 4 times. Every time I've watched the game there, the weather's always perfect. It's like 70 degrees.
It's like the Key Biscayne. It's the Key Biscayne bubble.
Exactly. And there's never rain in the forecast. The field looks absolutely perfect. It's really loud there too.
Great crowd,
tremendous speaker system.
It's crazy when you invest in your team, people show up.
Go figure.
Wild how that works.
Not a Dodger fan by any stretch of the imagination, but absolutely loved going to Dodger Stadium.
Okay. All right. Number 4 for me, Philly, Citizens Bank Park.
Wow.
Killer atmosphere. I went when it was still relatively new. I think it was one of the first ballparks that when you walk around the terminal or whatever you call that, like the first level of the stadium, you can see the field from anywhere, which in turn a bunch of stadiums ended up copying that kind of aesthetic. Just a true baseball fans vibe. The crowd is super into it. The outfield stands are right on top of the field. My favorite part is that the visiting bullpen is in the second layer of the bullpen. Right. You know how they have them stacked in center field in Philly, and the fans can chirp the visiting bullpen. I think little things like that are well thought out. The food in the stadium's great. You could get a cheesesteak, that sort of thing. So yeah, a little dark horse for me. Citizens
Miami guy picking a Philly team.
Look, man, I unbiased. I love stadium vibes. I've been to a bunch of NFL a bunch of stadiums in general, and I can appreciate when I experience a good one. Okay, you're number 3.
I'm going to go on a major limb here. This is going to be super controversial. Tropicana Field. You guys should see Toad is dying on side. I will say this.
That place is a dump.
It's a dump. But when it opened up in the late 90s, early 2000s, we went. My family's go to the west coast of Florida every summer.
Okay.
Beach trips. We thought it was imagine a 10-year-old.
Well, yeah, because you're going to games.
We had no idea. At
Joe
Robbie. So we thought Tropicana was this futurist. They were the first place with Dippin' Dots. We'd never had Dippin' Dots. So
you are a big Dippin' Dots guy.
Dippin' Dots guy. We go to Tropicana Field. It was unbelievable. We thought it was the coolest place on earth. And granted, those Rays teams were awful.
So you have a little nostalgia bias.
A little nostalgia bias. Wouldn't be ranked on anybody else's top 5. They're on my top 5.
I can appreciate
nostalgia bias.
Okay. All right. Number 3 for me. Maybe, I guess this might be a little random too, but I love funky ballparks. And the great thing about baseball compared to other sports is that every stadium is unique. Every outfield wall, different dimensions. Great part of baseball. Number 3 for me, Minute Maid Park.
Nice.
In Houston. I'll give you reasons. And again, for this list, these are only ballparks we can list that we've been to.
Right.
So the train in left field, I'm blanking on the name now.
Don't ask me.
The Crawford boxes, the train above the Crawford boxes. And my favorite part, and my dad's favorite part, can you believe this? Look what they have in center field, the hill. Now I'm blanking on the damn name of the hill too, but the hill with the flagpole. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. They got rid of it now.
They got rid of it. But it was dangerous.
It was
objectively.
But Jim Edmonds had a couple epic catches climbing up the hill. Yeah. Super cool place. It felt very what's the term I'm thinking for? Like
homey?
Yeah, like confined, but like very like big, but
small at the same time.
At the same time. When the Astros weren't very good, so that I can't speak to the atmosphere, but I remember walking in as a little kid. I think it might have been the first stadium I went to with a roof, and I was like, "Holy shit! Yeah, this is sick. Yeah, this is cool." Yeah. And as a Florida guy, Minute Maid, you gotta appreciate the oranges.
Absolutely,
respect to the oranges.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Minute Maid, I think underrated, and just cool vibes. Cool vibes across the board.
We can go, dude.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2. I went to watch an All-Star game there, which was amazing. In 2016. Petco Park in South. I knew it. I got him. I got Toad. You got me. Now I got you back. Okay. Petco Park was unbelievable.
It's my number 2 too. So we'll riff here.
We'll line on 2. It was a fantastic experience. And then just being the All-Star game, I had never been to one. I was rehabbing in Arizona at the time. A group of us, we had the All-Star break off. A group of us decided to just hop over there, made the 6 or so hour drive to San Diego. Tremendous experience, tremendous ballpark. The bars in the area, the Navy area. It's such a cool place. I think it's called the Gaslight District, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And the food,
unbelievable. Vibes, everything.
Like, it's a Navy town.
It's just another place too. That is there ever bad weather in San Diego, dude? Like,
no.
Does it ever rain?
No.
Like does it ever, like, seriously? Does it ever rain? But the grass is always green.
Yeah. Well, there's income tax, I guess. State income tax.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that.
I have a great. Actually, I would be remiss to not tell my great Petco Park story. Again, this is a summer trip. My dad asked us, where do we want to go? Petco Park. And I think you forgot to mention the left field, the factory. Yeah. Again, another unique, very unique. A lot of ballparks on our list with unique amenities.
Features.
So we're at Petco Park. We're sitting behind the Marlins dugout. My parents splurged. Ricky Nolasco, your boy. We'll tell the live story another day. Maybe we'll have him on to
corroborate.
So Ricky Nolasco's on the bump. He's a Cali kid. And the Marlins would always have a thing that their Cali guys would ball when they would play on the West Coast. Stanton notoriously torched the Dodgers and the Padres on a regular basis. But long story short, Nolasco's on the mound. I'm pretty sure he went 8 strong. Not complete game, obviously. No runs. Shutout. Sorry. Yes, thank you. And the catcher might have been John Baker, who ironically played at Cal with my cousin. Baker's running off the field to the dugout, sees us in our Marlins gear, throws me the ball directly over the net, right? And I'm like, holy shit, what a moment. This is so cool. Get a tap on my shoulder. Oh no, like what did I do? Whatever. Thinking I'm in trouble with somebody at Petco. It's Ricky Nolasco's agent. And he goes, I can get that signed for you.
It's sick.
I'm Ricky Nolasco's agent. This is his mom. Nice to meet you. I'll get it signed for you. And when you guys are coming to the game tomorrow, right? We didn't have tickets, but I looked at my dad. We're coming tomorrow, right? Yeah.
San Diego.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here tomorrow. And man, sure enough, we went to game 2 of the series, and the ball said to Ted and Eric. Ted's my brother. To Ted and Eric, let's go fish. Ricky Nolasco with the stat line and everything.
That's cool.
Unforgettable moment. Really cool for me. Just something I'll never forget. And
still good guys in baseball.
They
do exist.
Yeah. But stories at tables that live. Maybe not.
Story for another day.
Okay. And
you give your number 1 first, because I stole your number 2.
My number 1. This is a huge dark horse. Progressive Field in Cleveland.
Wow.
Randomly went 2 summers ago to visit Cleveland for a friend. Happened to be there when the Guardians, Indians, they were still the Indians back then. Man. First off, what an underrated sports city Cleveland is. Progressive Field is in the heart of downtown. It's close to the lake. The entire downtown shuts down. Everyone's walking to the ballpark. They have like this grand entrance. I think it was in left field, or like everyone walks in together. Just a spectacular experience. Scenes for a rent. I think it was
Wednesday night or
Thursday night. It was a Friday night game, and it was also Dollar Dog Night. So man, people were rowdy. It was a great crowd. Awesome. I think they played the Mariners, and they came back to win or something. It was just what a great ballpark. Yeah. It was. I appreciated that it was in the heart of downtown. That's rare these days. We don't get to experience that here. Just great game presentation. It was all about baseball. There was no gimmicks. It was just
people love their team.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see.
Yeah, and 10 out of 10 experience. Yeah. I genuinely want to go. Like I've told my dad,
let's go back.
I want to take you to Progressive Field because man, sick ballpark.
I'll say something romantic to me. Take me to Cleveland.
Well, I went with my then girlfriend, so yeah, baby.
We're going to Cleveland.
Proposed to me on the coast of Lake Erie.
Man.
But yeah, I knew my number 1 was safe. But it was baseball at its core.
Just pure baseball.
And great ballpark. Clean.
Enough said. Just pure
cool
baseball.
Signs.
Yeah.
They like walking around the beneath the stadium. Man, I'm blanking on what you call that.
The concourse?
The concourse. Thank you.
Toad, lock in, dude.
I'm sorry.
Middle innings will wear on you.
Yeah.
People don't realize.
Yeah. Walking around the concourse, they pay history and homage to the great, not many, but the great Indians teams, Guardians teams. Just a cool experience. Cool place. What's your number 1?
You know what this is going to be? It's going to be Old Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
I've been there a couple times. I will say, we talked about this off air. New Yankee Stadium, Old Yankee Stadium, old one. By far and away a better user experience, better fan experience. Obviously growing up a big Yankee fan, it was big time for me to go. Went in 2008. I think it was the last year of the stadium. The All-Star game was there that year. Getting off the subway, the whole experience, walking into the park. Another thing that we never will really get to, right? No. Like just fans all flocking to the park. No cars in sight. It's a really cool place. And obviously you walk into Yankee Stadium and you feel it. You feel its presence. Yeah. Obviously, there's so many world championships there, tremendous players, Hall of Famers. Definitely was the experience I had hoped for. And still rings very true in my mind. Like I feel it was, over 15, 16 years ago. And I can still remember it vividly.
When I went, we sat in the upper deck, and the upper deck at Old Yankee Stadium famously was like on top of home plate. Yeah. I got to see, it was 2004, the year after the Marlins beat the Yankees in the World Series. I got to see the D train pitch in Old Yankee Stadium.
Go figure.
Very, very cool experience. And we took the train just like you. And I think the Heat were in the finals.
Wow.
Or some shit like that. Like this is D Wade.
04, they weren't in the finals, but they were good.
They were good. Yeah. My brother, I think, was wearing a Heat jersey or hat, and some guys like fuck the Marlins, and he sees like the D Wade tree. He's like, "But go Heat, baby!" Which is weird because Knicks country, but whatever. But I'll never forget that too. Very, very odd experience.
I think you and I each have an honorable mention. And I think it's important that we call them out.
We do.
I have Mark Light Stadium, obviously the home of the Miami Hurricanes. Tremendous park to go watch a game at. Near and dear to my heart, obviously.
You grew up in that building.
Grew up in the building. Still go to games all the time. Toad has gone as well with me. Right now it's the best ticket in town baseball wise, because no one wants to go see the Marlins, right? Best ticket in town in a bad year. So it's definitely a cool place. A lot of mystique, right in the heart of Coral Gables.
They need a extension over the seats though for the summer.
Yeah, City of Coral Gables, if you're listening, let us get those
permits. Cameron Gorby, if you're listening, get on it. And shout out to Dick Hauser in Tallahassee, home of the Seminoles. You tell me, one of the hardest places to play in college.
Very cool place to play it. It's the
Section B animals. They get after you.
The Canada
K
guys.
Time.
Yeah,
K time.
It's a cool place to play. All the fans are. It's a rivalry game, so you get heckled a little bit, but it's a great place. They're always engaged. It brings out the best in you, man. Yeah. I think it's one of those stadiums that, as much as it pains me to say, it's a tremendous venue in college baseball.
And I want, actually, now that we're talking about Dick Hauser, I do want to give a shout out to Tallahassee and Dick Hauser. There was a big hurricane, big tornado that ripped through Tallahassee this past week, and there was some significant damage to Hauser, but the great folks at FSU and Tally rallied together, and they're going to play baseball this weekend.
That's sick.
In Tallahassee. So, man, ironically, I spoke to my friend who's one of my best friends. He's the head of PR for FSU baseball. We spoke on the phone today, and they're fired up for some normalcy, because it's been a weird 6 days for them.
So we're taking the Knolls this weekend, whoever they play, hammering the Knolls.
Yes. And the right field fence, it's like 30 feet tall. It's only going to be 10 feet tall this weekend.
Oh, so boy.
We got some
over on the runs.
Over on dingers. All right. Before we wrap here, we had a funny conversation. We've seen the viral videos on Instagram. What's your meal if you're gonna
death
die?
Row, right? Yeah,
death row meal before you die. We're gonna do a ballpark edition. Mine is pretty extensive, Javi. So why don't you give me your death row ballpark meal?
Okay. So I always get peanuts. That is my appetizer course.
Okay.
I absolutely love peanuts. There's nothing better than going to the ballpark and just dumping peanuts on the ground. And I had this conversation with my fiance the other day. We went to a basketball game and I was eating peanuts and dumping them on the floor.
Yes,
and I got called out. I got yelled at saying that I should be picking up the shells. No. Well, you're in a baseball stadium. I am throwing every single shell on the ground because I love to walk out of your seat and just
the crunch. It's ASMR. Crunch. Yeah. I feel that. So, and even during the game, you sliding your feet.
Exactly.
Reminds you of being in the dugout. Let's be real.
100%. So I have peanuts, any park I'm at.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get specific now. So I go peanuts.
I like this.
Peanuts appetizer. I'm going Dodger Dog.
Fuck, dude.
Are you going Dodger Dog too?
Yeah, and I've never even been to Dodger Stadium.
No, then you can't do that. That's unfair. I have had a Dodger Dog.
Okay.
And I will go one step further.
Okay.
I went to Dodger Stadium with my former boss and her boss. So 2 levels of bosses. Okay, we went to a game. We were watching a player that was one of our clients at the time. And he asked, what do we get here? And I said, Dodger Dog. Well, if you can imagine, this guy was dressed really nicely, had a sport coat, white shirt on.
He got the mustard on the shirt?
He got everything. It looked like a crime scene. So Dodger Dog is a must get for me. After I cut it short. I had a 3-course meal because after a Dodger Dog, I don't know how much room I'd have. I'm going with Dippin' Dots. You knew I was going there. We had already talked about it. So I'm going peanuts, Dodger Dog, Dippin' Dots, massive cold beer.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all I need.
Okay. Let's get started here. Let's lock in. I love some ballpark and arena food. Okay. We're going to flip this on its head. I'm going to start with ice cream in a baseball helmet.
Wow.
I'm starting with dessert first. Give me the chocolate vanilla not froyo, but the soft serve mix. I want it mixed together, straight out of the machine together.
Who's on the helmet?
The helmet?
What
give
team?
Give me the Florida Marlins F.
Wow.
Give me the Marlins F. And I want my rainbow sprinkles. Off the bat.
Do they even do that anymore, dude? Do they give you sprinkles at these ice cream things?
I couldn't tell you. This is my death row. I get whatever
you can do whatever you want. You're right.
This is a fantasy.
Cookie dough, sprinkles, whatever you want.
Yeah. So I want my vanilla chocolate soft serve swirl. It has to be in a helmet. I want to be very, very clear on
specific.
that.
Yeah.
I'm taking that to the helmet is coming with me to the grave.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, we're gonna go from sweet to savory. I'm going to get a salted pretzel, but it has to be lightly salted.
You can't do that, Toad, because if I'm behind you in line and you ask for a lightly salt, I'm going to be pissed.
Why?
You get the salt that's given.
No.
You grab this and just shake it off. Salt it yourself.
No,
that's BS. You're the reason why concessions take so long. Go on.
Okay. I'm going to wash all of that down, not with beer.
Coke.
With a Coca-Cola.
Coke. Yeah.
A lot of ice, a ton of ice, so much ice that it's practically a frozen Coke. Okay?
Dude, you are the dream of a concessionaire, dude. He's getting ripped off.
And then, after my tummy settles, after my Coca-Cola, I'm going to go back to sweet. I'm going to go get my peanut M&Ms.
Wow.
A mix of some chocolate and the peanuts you were mentioning before. And then after that, tendies and fries. Please.
Have you done this at a baseball game before? We should do this. We should do a food tour with Toad at the baseball game to see, can Toad keep all this food down in a 9-inning game?
Yes, I can. I can. And then I wanted to wrap it up with a Dodger Dog, but since this is bucket, but since it's bucket list, I was man, I'm gonna have them before I die.
Fine. Wrapping up on our stadiums, I think this might be a hot take, but I think I'm right. So bear with me. You can't do this with any other sport, I think.
No.
Like baseball stadiums are so unique. Like we could never talk about this about football stadiums or basketball
because
arenas.
all the NFL stadiums look exactly the same.
They're all the same. Right. So baseball,
maybe NHL, NBA arenas. Some of them are unique. The NHL barns, they're unique. Whatever. But yes, but baseball, from like the concessions to what the stadium looks like to the vibes,
the aesthetic, and everything, the surrounding area.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing like it.
And like you can't do what your family did, like a road trip, summer trip, see. You're not going to go to a Miami Heat game in Indiana in the middle of summer. Maybe you might, but you just maybe because you're there, but you're not going to make a trip of it.
No, and the coolest part about the baseball games, like 8 out of 10 times you're experiencing it outside.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a summer activity.
Not a Tropicana though.
Bro, what a weird take, but whatever. To each their own. But it's a summer activity. You're going to be outside. You're going to be. It's family friendly. And we're taking a summer trip this year.
See you at Fenway, baby.
See you at Fenway. I'm kind of down for Yankees. We might as well go to Yankee Stadium too while we're up there. But
we got to get our boy Petey and Coop in on this. And
next weekend, Brewers
in town. That's
Brewers
right.
in Miami.
So hopefully we'll have some more content.
So
we're
going to a baseball. We're going to a Marlins.
Toad is just like that. They draw him right back in.
No, my Brewers are in Miami.
Are you wearing a Brewers hat?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
have you ever worn an opposing team's hat to Marlins Stadium? Wow.
I'm
this is it.
I'm a loyal guy.
This is it.
I'm a loyal guy until I'm not anymore. Well, that's going to wrap on the first edition of the middle innings.
Baby.
I gotta say, Javi, this was
good.
This was a blast. This is pretty funny stuff.
We'll have Petey back for the next one. Petey, we miss you.
Absolutely. But again, before we sign off, please subscribe when available on Spotify, YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. We've been getting a lot of support lately from friends and family, and we appreciate it, and we're excited to
branding coming soon.
Yeah.
And we're excited about it. We're very, very excited about it. We're pumped.
Snapbacks and merch coming soon.
Alrighty.
Mafia out. Peace.